Welcome everyone to Coin New Yen Review channel. Before we dive into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover us. Enjoy the show. I found myself reborn on the eve of the college entrance exam. Before I could even process what was happening, just as my father, exhausted from work, grabbed my hand and pulled me into the room. His eyes were red and swollen. He spoke the same words I'd heard 10 years ago. "Yi-chen, must you insist on taking this exam in such heavy snow?" But I no longer felt the guilt that consumed me a decade ago, because I'd already died once, father. Why can't I go to this university? This time I finally voiced the question I couldn't ask back then. My father froze for a moment, clearly unprepared for his usually obedient son, who never spoke out of turn, to dare ask why. "Do you think your father doesn't want you to go to university? More than anyone, I want you to succeed. But you're the eldest son of our family. Don't you know the state of our household? How can I afford to send you to university? And what about your two younger sisters? As the eldest, you're like a father to them. You can't ignore their needs." 10 years ago, on the night before the exam, my father held me and wept for over an hour, watching the man who raised me with such hardship. I couldn't bring myself to refuse him. I willingly agreed to give up the exam, while others nervously clutched their pens, filling out answer sheets, laying the foundation for their bright futures. At that very moment, I donned a greasy blue uniform, sat in the filthy back kitchen of a small diner, and began washing dishes. From that point, my unsurprising life became like the plates in my hands, forever stained with grease. No matter how hard I scrub it, never clean. Reduced to worthless trash unfit for display. My father had no idea what I was thinking now. He kept repeating the words I'd already memorized by heart. Finally, I took a deep breath and pulled my hand from his grasp, just like I did years ago, father. Rest assured, I won't enter the exam hall tomorrow. It's getting late. You should go to bed. Almost instantly, my father's sobs came to a halt. Really, I nodded. But my voice was strangely calm as I said, "Go to bed." "I'll go to sleep too. If wronged you, son, go to bed early." "I'm going to sleep too," my father said, hurriedly standing up. The moment before he left the room, I caught at the corner of his mouth a fleeting, unmistakable hint of relief and a smile. I gave a bitter, self-mocking laugh, then turned my gaze to the ID card resting on my desk. As the night deepened, I packed my things. In the sound of my brother's steady breathing, I tiptoed out of the room, took a deep breath, and without hesitation turned the doorknob. Did they think I'd be as foolish as I was 10 years ago, to so easily abandon my bright future? In Gao-chun's clear dawn, I fled that so-called home at full speed, heading straight for my old teacher M.R. Song's residence. Back then, my grades were among the top 3 in my year. Mr. Song had always been fond of me. After learning I'd given up the exam, he came to the diner multiple times, urging me to return to school and continue my studies. In the end, he even promised, if I went back and took the exam again, he'd cover my tuition himself. But my mind was consumed with easing my father's burdens and providing for my siblings. So, no matter how earnestly Mr. Song pleaded, I refused him every time. But this time was different. I cautiously knocked on Mr. Song's door. With a creak, the door swung open. Warm orange light spilled onto the floor. Seeing Mr. Song standing before me, I couldn't hold back as my eyes reddened. Not just because I saw the one person who truly cared for me back then, but because I remembered this selfless teacher who burned brightly to light others' paths, only to succumb to cancer untreated due to delays. Collapsing at the podium in my 5th year of dropping out, leaving his beloved students forever. "Yi-chen, come in quick," he said warmly. Mr. Song, as gentle as he was back then, asked no questions, simply reached out and pulled me inside. I sat on the soft couch as Mr. Song handed me a cup of warm honey water. Holding that cup, I struggled to recount the events of that night and shared them with Mr. Song, begging him, "Mr. Song, I don't want to give up tomorrow's exam. If my father can't find me tomorrow, he'll surely come to the exam hall looking for me. Please, you have to help me." Even if you hadn't said that, I would have helped you. Mr. Song sat beside me, gently touching my face. Go take the exam tomorrow with confidence. Don't think about anything else. Leave the rest to me. Thank you, Mr. Song. The weight in my heart finally lifted. Thank me for what? Doing well in the exam tomorrow is what matters most. Your grades were excellent for 3 years in high school. Don't put pressure on yourself, understand? I nodded, Mr. Song. I won't let you down. Those words weren't empty boasts to Mr. Song. I truly had that confidence. Though it had been 10 years, I'd long forgotten everything from high school. But I completed an entire set of that year's exam papers and reviewed them thoroughly before choosing to end my life, only to awaken and find I've been reborn 10 years in the past. So now it was as if I already knew the questions and answers in advance. There was no reason I could fail. I spent the whole night at Mr. Song's house. The next morning, I followed Mr. Song to the school gates. As expected, just as I was about to enter, I spotted my father rushing toward me. Yi Chen, what did you promise me last night? Get over here. The crowd was chaotic. My father stumbled, unable to keep his balance. I looked at his frantic face, and without looking back strode forward into the exam hall that belonged to me. For 2 full days of testing, I never once let my focus waver. After the final subject, I felt a wave of relief. My legs weak as I walked out of the exam hall. I had finally completed the exam that could shape my life's path. More importantly, this time my life wasn't controlled by my family under the guise of so-called love. As I stepped out of the exam hall, I knew the real battle was just beginning. The familiar iron gate stood before me. As I pushed it open, a loud slap echoed through the silent room, accompanied by my father's choked sobs, as if he not I had been struck. My 14-year twin siblings Lin Baeun and Lin Baeoming sat on the couch, watching the scene with indifference, while my mother, Lin Xiaoshu, sat at the dining table, puffing on a cigarette. One drag after another, a stinging pain burned across my cheek. I gritted my teeth, standing still waiting for my father's outburst. You've grown bold, lying even to your father, haven't you? My father spat through clenched teeth. What did you promise me that night? You said you wouldn't take the exam, that you'd work with me, and yet you ran off that very night. I worked so hard to raise you, and in the end, you only think of yourself, dreaming of a good life for yourself. How can you be so selfish? If I'd known when you were born, I should have drowned you in a basin. Then I wouldn't be this angry today. I snapped my head up, staring into my father's tear-filled eyes. Weren't you the one who was fed up? What did you say? When I was born, didn't you tell my mother to drown me in a basin? But I was too stubborn to die, and only because the midwife begged you not to sing. Did you reluctantly keep me? My voice dripped with resentment, leaving both my parents frozen in place. That never happened. Who told you that? You did, I answered in my heart. During one of our big fights, my father, in a rage, blurted out the truth of my birth. That moment struck me like lightning. Any son, hearing his own father nearly drown him, would feel as if the heavens had collapsed. That truth lodged a thorn in my heart, but after venting, my father seemed to forget had ever said it, never mentioning it again. You brought me into this world. I didn't ask to be born. Lin Baeun and Lin Baeoming's futures are futures. But is my future worth nothing? Am I doomed to be a sacrifice? Are they your children and not mine? Why should I be responsible for their futures? Is that how you speak to your father? From childhood, I always obeyed my parents. At 6, I'd carry a basin to the river to wash my sister's diapers. My hands frozen like purple radishes. I'd stand on a stool in the kitchen cooking. Once I fell off that stool, spilling an entire pot of food on myself. But when my mother rushed in at the sound, seeing the mess, she screamed at me because I'd accidentally knocked over a bowl of oil. For years, I toiled tirelessly in this house, like a top that spins without needing a whip. Faced with my father's accusations, I didn't utter a single word. Parents are always like this. When they can't win with reason, they bind you with morality. At that moment, my mother, seated on the couch, finally stood. She strode toward me and grabbed my collar. You've grown bold, haven't you? I told you to help at your uncle's, but you refused. You insisted on taking that exam. With your wretched life, you dare dream of university. You don't even know your own worth. Even if you pass, I won't spend a single cent on your education. From today, you're out of this house. Then I was slammed against the wall. A sharp pain shot through my shoulder blades. I broke out in a cold sweat from the agony, but I refused to bow my head. I will go to university, and I won't use a single cent of yours. You dare talk back. My mother unbuckled her belt. As the leather whipped toward my head, I instinctively shielded my face. In that moment, only one thought filled my mind. My face must be scarred, or I'd never find work in the summer. This brutal beating ended only when my mother broke the belt. My arms, back, and shoulders were covered in welts from the strap. My body was a map of bruises, some places bleeding freely. While I endured this beating, my mother coldly ushered my sister to her room, then turned and walked into the kitchen. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I limped back to my room. Before I could even sit, I saw my sister had thrown everything from my desk onto the floor. You think you can go to university? Look at yourself. Oh, you even deserve it. Someone like you deserves to be beaten to death. Just go work at uncle's like you're supposed to. Why did you have to take the exam? You really think passing makes you something special? My brother chimed in from the side. Though they were barely in junior high, their faces already bore sharp, cruel sneers. In my past life, their treatment of me was even worse than this. After I dropped out to work, I slaved away to pay for their education, but neither of them studied well. It took them to tries to get into third-tier colleges, each costing over 40,000 yuan a year in tuition, plus 2,000 yuan a month for living expenses. The moment my paycheck hit my account, I'd send it straight to them, leaving me with just 70 or 80 yuan by year's end. During the new year, as the family gathered, I helped my mother wrap dumplings and asked my siblings what they did at school. I heard they could even apply to study abroad. Unable to resist, I asked, "What does it take to study abroad?" I knew I'd never have the chance in this life, but I couldn't help yearning for it. My brother merely glanced at me and went back to his phone. Do you even understand what I do at school? Study abroad. You've never even left this province. My sister, peeling an orange on the couch, let out a mocking laugh. No way, no way. There are still people who haven't gone to college. No way, no way. Someone with just a high school diploma, dreaming of studying abroad. That's hilarious, she laughed. Never even went to college. Didn't even finish the entrance exam. The two of them burst into laughter, while I lowered my head, lower and lower, wishing I could shrink into nothing. But I am remarkable. I stepped forward, looking at their disdainful expressions. I spoke calmly, word by word. Going to university is remarkable. I will be the only one in this family to make it to university. You two failures will never measure up to me ever. Everything unfolded as I'd foreseen. When the exam results came out, my scores were enough for any university in the country. When teachers from two top schools came to me at nearly the same time, I received news that lifted the weight from my shoulders. Based on my circumstances, the school would waive all my fees and provide me with a stipend each year. I ultimately chose the school and major I'd always dreamed of. The moment I held the admission letter, seeing my name Yi Chen written on it, I rushed to Mr. Song's house as my first act. I bowed deeply to him in gratitude. After breaking ties with my parents, I have been staying at Mr. Song's house these past 2 months. Without him, I would have been truly homeless. But soon enough, my parents showed up at Mr. Song's house. Yi Chen, you're really out of line, disturbing Mr. Song for so long. I heard you got your admission letter. Let me see it quick, father said. Come home with me now. Father hadn't even warmed the seat before trying to drag me away. My mother, usually so fierce and watchful, softened her expression considerably. Let's go. How long do you plan to mooch off Mr. Song? But I stayed rooted on the couch, just staring at them coldly. Didn't you tell me to get out of that house? And now you claim in deliberately freeloading at someone else's. If I had a home to return to, Would I keep troubling Mr. Song? I tore through their hypocritical masks without hesitation. You were the ones who told me to leave that house, so it'll never go back. Call me selfish or self-serving if you want, or try to guilt-trip me with morality. I don't care anymore, because if finally realized, if you truly cared about me as your son, you wouldn't demand I sacrifice my future. You're being kind to me today, only because I got into a university, one that costs you nothing, a university that guarantees a good job after graduation. In your eyes, I'm just a cash machine now, a juicy piece of meat useful to you. But the moment I'm no longer useful, you'll treat me like you did that day, beating me until I'm broken and bleeding, then telling me to go wherever, just not burden you. In short, don't drag you down. In summary, I won't fall for your tricks again. I'll never step foot in that house again, not even once. In my past life, I worked as a waiter at my uncle's shop for a year, then became a cashier, later a nail salon assistant, then I opened an online store. Riding the wave, I made a fortune. Father sweetened and strong-armed me into giving him that money, refusing to return a single cent. Later, I collapsed at work. My coworkers rushed me to the hospital for tests, and I was diagnosed with lupus. But my bank account had only a few hundred yuan left, not even enough to cover hospital fees. I crouched by the payment counter, sobbing as I called father. But after hearing my pleas for money, his voice turned icy cold. Handle it yourself. I don't have any money. Then he hung up without another word. While I suffered in agony from my illness, wishing I could end it all, I saw my sister's social media post. A spacious new house brightly lit, high-end cosmetics in a luxurious mall. Caption happy family, and I broke down. All these years in their hearts, my sacrifices were taken for granted. Even my life was just a stepping stone for their perfect future. That very night, I endured my illness, bought that year's college entrance exam papers, worked through them over and over, filling in answers again and again. As I held the pen, I kept thinking, if I hadn't listened to Father 10 years ago and had gone to take the exam without hesitation, would my life have been different? Would my future have bloomed instead of withering? Now the answer lay before me. You think you're tough now? Mother was so furious she lunged to hit me. Father held her back with all his strength. Mr. Song stepped in without a word, blocking me and scolding father. What do you think you're doing? Hitting my student in front of me. But I wasn't afraid at all. I stepped forward facing him. Before his fist could land, I stared fiercely into his eyes. Go ahead, hit me if you dare. If you touch me, I'll call the police. You're 40 now, aren't you? When you're 60, I'll still be young. And every blow you land now, I'll return to you then. Do you dare under my cold glare? Mother's fist finally dropped powerless. Father started sobbing each end. How did you become like this? I don't even recognize you anymore, because I'm no longer the Yi Chen you could be and scold at will. I mean what I say. For 4 years of university, I never stepped foot in their house, nor did I contact them, though father called me every semester. His words always circled around, telling me not to forget my parents' kindness after graduation, urging me to help my siblings. Only at the end would he casually say, "Eat well at school. Don't let yourself suffer." I could only laugh, sir. Give me money and I'll eat well. But every time it came to this, father's tone would turn evasive. I know you're not short on money. Don't hold a grudge against me. Even if he offered money, I wouldn't take it. I just didn't want to hear his sanctimonious, showy displays of concern. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, for years passed. I earned a spot in graduate school, able to continue my studies. Not only that, with memories from my past life, I seized several opportunities others hadn't even noticed. Under the university's entrepreneurship program, I started my own live streaming company and soon made a fortune. The moment I earned my first big sum, I brought Mr. Song to live with me. I bought a 3-bedroom apartment and hired a housekeeper to care for him. Mr. Song had devoted his entire life to the teaching podium with no children of his own, and I'd already decided to care for him in his old age. In my past life, Mr. Song died of lung cancer. because it wasn't caught early. This time, I took him for checkups in advance, ensuring his condition didn't worsen. As for my achievements, I never said a word to my mother or the others, but no wall is airtight. Word of my house and company somehow got out. One day returning home from school, I stepped out of the elevator to find my front door wide open. Instantly, I felt something was wrong. As I entered, my brows furrowed tightly. Lin Baeon and Lin Baeoming lounged carelessly on my couch watching TV, their feet surrounded by fruit peels and trash. Mother sat on a chair smoking. Father leaned close to her, sitting stiffly upright, while Mr. Song sat on a small stool, like an outsider. Who let you in? My blood surged with anger. I quickly helped Mr. Song up from the stool. Mr. Song, please go rest in your room. Yi Chen, you're back. What you think you can hide that you struck it rich? Did you think I wouldn't find out? Mother saw me and stubbed her cigarette on my floor, crushing it with her foot. Listen to you. Father saw me return. His face instantly lit up with a fawning smile. Yi Chen, let me look at you. I've missed you so much these years. You're doing well now, aren't you? I stepped back, putting distance between me and father, avoiding his touch. Yi Chen, your mother, me, and your siblings came here. Not for anything else. Family is thicker than water. Blood ties can't be broken. Back then I was wrong not to let you take the exam. I failed as a father lacked vision. But what father doesn't want the best for his child? Seeing you thrive all these years. You don't know how happy it makes me. Today I'm here to apologize. Let's be a family again. Put the past behind us, okay? Saying this, father pulled my siblings up, telling them to greet me, and then said, from now on, learn from your brother. Make us old folks proud. Got it? Lin Baeon and Lin Baeoming just glanced at me, not making a sound, but their eyes held barely concealed envy and jealousy. I gave a cold laugh, not playing along, just saying, besides that, don't you have anything else to say? Like asking me to do something or help with something, calling it help when it's family. Mother snorted. You're living in a big house now, enjoying the good life. It's time to think of your family. Your siblings aren't cut out for studying. They both failed the exam this year. Couldn't even get into a third-tier school. Tutoring fees are sky high. You should just pay for it. It's what you as the older brother should do. Also, the house at home is too broken to live in. I'm planning to move in here. You bought a house, but don't let your parents live in it. Instead, you're providing for an outsider. Did all your education go to waste? Before I could respond, father hurried over with a forced smile, saying, imagine our family producing 3 college graduates. Wouldn't that be something to brag about? Plus, you haven't been home in years. You don't know how bad things are. This year's heavy rains. Half our mud house collapsed. We want to fix it but have no money. It's unlivable now. Luckily, you've got this new house. I checked before. It's big enough for us all. It'll cook for you. Our family living happily together. How great would that be? Great in what way? I sneered coldly, raising my brows in retort. Aren't you scheming a bit too loudly? Did you give me a single cent in for years of university? Or visit me even once? You claim to miss me, but you probably forgot what I look like. Did you come to see me this time? Or because you heard I made money and couldn't wait to make me fulfill some so-called filial duty? Lin Baeon and Lin Baeoming failed their exams, and you're willing to pay for them to retake. Back then my grades were stellar, yet you made me drop out to work. Is that fair? Did you think a few sweet words thrown my way now would make me foolishly hand over my hard-earned money? And when you've drained every cent, you treat me like I'm nothing again. Sorry, I'm not as naive as you think. Now either you leave my house, or I'll call the police to escort you out. Father clearly hadn't expected me to be so resolute. At that moment, my sister rushed toward me. The two of them, realizing they'd get nothing from me, got desperate. You're their brother. How can you not care about us? Go ahead and report us then. I smirked with disdain. Even if I were a billionaire, I wouldn't give you a single cent. Go ahead, take me to court. I'd love to see if the court cares about an ingrate like you claim I am. Mother was trembling with rage. Then go to court now. I stepped aside, clearing a path for them. If you don't leave, they'll have security remove you. 2 security guards appeared at the door, holding batons. I'd messaged the property manager when I saw them, seeing the tall guards. The 4 of them finally showed fear. Mother spat viciously on my floor, then reluctantly dragged father away. My sister trailed behind them. Her parting glare at me was venomous. But I didn't care about so-called family. I'd rather never see them again. After they left, I hired a cleaning service to scrub my house inside and out. Mr. Song came out of his room, gently pulling me to sit on the couch. Chen, don't be upset. In your past life, you went through so much. This life you should live like this. At my age, I've seen it all clearly. Family is those who truly care for you. If they don't treat you well, even blood relatives don't deserve your devotion. Yes, I told Mr. Song about my rebirth. What touched me was, he never tried to guilt trip me, always standing by my side when I needed him. He was my true family. Later, mother really did sue me, demanding $1,000,000 a year as compensation for raising me. But according to the law, I only had to pay them a few $100 a month. As for my sister, I had no obligation to support her. The day the verdict came out, my parents were furious, pounding their chests in court. My sister's face was ashen, humiliated and defeated. Without me as their cash cow, they'd only sink lower, becoming the dirt beneath others' feet. Before I got into the car, father dropped to his knees with a thud, apologizing to me. Yi Chen, you're my son. I carried you for 10 months, raised you through every hardship. You can't be so heartless. If you abandon us, what will your sister do? But I was already in the car. After closing the door, I told the driver without hesitation drive. Sitting in the passenger seat, I glanced at the rearview mirror, at the woman kneeling on the ground wailing, growing smaller and smaller. I lowered my head, pulling out the green card I'd received today. I'd secured a visa to Australia. Mr. Song would come with me. In a foreign land, I'd continue working and studying, truly living the life that belonged to me.